The following program is produced by PACTV in accordance with the agreements PACTV has with the towns we serve. The content of this program does not reflect the views or opinions of the PACTV staff or board of directors.
Hello everyone, welcome to Delicious and Nutritious. We are at PACTV in Plymouth. Want to also thank PACTV as well as the Plymouth Center for Active Living, Beth Israel Deaconess Health, our local hospital, wonderful place to go. We are making a delicious, nutritious guacamole. A simple, fresh guacamole. This is going to be dynamite. Okay, avocado. Now, we take this little thing, and when we go by, we're going out and we want to buy them, we want to be able to squeeze them. And if they're hard, they're a problem. So, how do we get this thing apart? Well, we take a little knife and we start to make a circle around, and it's going around, and it goes around, and it comes back to the beginning. And we do a twist. Notice the twist. Look at this. We've got one half with nothing but flesh, and we have a big nut here. Okay, take the knife, a little twist, and away it goes. And how do we get it out of here? What we do is we take a big spoon, try not to break the skin, not that it really makes any difference, and scrape it along like this. And out it goes. Look at this. It's completely empty. And we do it to the next one. And we get that out. See how simple it is? Little technique is a wonderful thing. All right. Now, we've scooped it out, and we're going to add some things to it. A little bit of red onion, about a tablespoon. A little bit of minced garlic, 1 clove, jalapeno pepper. Okay, now I want to give you a brief instruction. This is a lovely jalapeno pepper. The question about a jalapeno pepper, of course, is what's the hot part and what's the mild part? And the hot part is right here in this rib right there. So what we do is just gently take the rib out, and you can do it with your fingers if you like. And we get the rib out, we get the seeds out, and then we can do whatever we want with it. All right, that's the jalapeno pepper. 2 tablespoons of cilantro, fresh, minced, and we're ready to do a little mashing. Now, we have my little potato masher, which I really like to use. But if it's nice and soft, which this one is, you can just start mashing it and combining it. And just to show you how the potato masher works, look at that. What we want to do with the first avocado, this recipe calls for 2. What we want to do with the first avocado is to mash it really good. The second avocado, we're going to take and we're going to have chunks in it. And the purpose of the chunks is to change the texture. So we want it some soft, some hard. Okay. Oh, yes, that's correct. We got it. Now, second avocado. Do it exactly what we did on the first one. Cut around in a circle. Don't forget the twist. Twist, perfect, look at that. And we got to get the pit out, so a little twist, look at that. It even stays there. Very helpful. Now, we take a dinner knife, not sharp, doesn't cut. And we're going to do strips about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch along this here like this. And we're going to keep doing that. And we're also going to twist it around 90 degrees and put it in there like that. And with our spoon. Look at the chunks. And good, we've got that in there. And we still have a half of one that we need to do. So we get our dinner knife again. Make sure you don't go through the skin. It'll be a mess. I guarantee it. I've done it. I don't recommend it. Okay. 90-degree twist. And get our spoon out. And we put it in here like this, twisting it. And we're going to do a gentle mix because we don't want to break up the chunks. So we're going to do a gentle mix. Are we going to use this? The potato masher? No, we are not. So we're just doing some swirling. And now to make it a little easier to swirl, we're going to add a little lime juice. Lime juice is in. A little bit of salt, and it's a tiny bit of salt. So for those of us that are concerned about that, and guess what? We're done. I'm just making it a little bit more uniform. And please notice, you can see here that we've got chunks of avocado as well as the mashed avocado. So it's giving us some texture. It's making it a lot more interesting. Now, into the serving bowl we go. Ah, a thing of beauty. Even I like this. And we get it in there. And I will tell you a couple of hints. One is that this recipe works really well to make it up the day before. But I would suggest you take it out about a half hour earlier before you're going to serve it out of the refrigerator. And the purpose of that is that as it warms up, it gives off more flavor. And it also changes the texture a little bit. So now we get it on our serving plate. And you'll notice what we have some crudités, we've got carrots, we've got celery, we got lovely little red peppers, and we also have, and I like these little corn scoops, and these things are really delicious. And we are ready to do a little taste. So I am going to taste. Dynamite. Okay, to Marcia. Marcia Richards, our nutritionist from Beth Israel Deaconess Health Clinic. And take it away, Marcia.
Great recipe, Jerry. It looks delicious. We're looking forward to trying it here. So I also brought some sliced zucchini and sweet baby peas and carrot sticks, in addition to some 100% corn chips. So we're focusing on guacamole or avocados today because February is National Heart Month. So I wanted to talk a little bit about good fats and bad fats. So a lot of times people think that all fat is bad, and that's not necessarily the case. That we do need fat in our diet for calories to help us to feel full. Our cell membranes are made out of fat. Some of the hormones that we need to function properly are created from fat. So fat isn't a bad thing, but there are some fats that are better for us than others. So we can categorize fats as saturated and unsaturated. The saturated fats typically come from animal products, but there are a few vegetables that are considered saturated, coconut and palm oils to be specific. They're typically solid at room temperature. So if you think about cooking bacon and you drain that fat off into a can, after a little while, it becomes very hard. That would be a saturated fat. Those are the ones that we should try to stay away from. They're the ones that are felt to contribute to heart disease. The second type of fat is unsaturated fats. Our unsaturated fats are mono and poly. And the avocado that you use to make your guacamole is part of these better fats called unsaturated. Other unsaturated fats are corn oil and safflower oil, peanut oil, olive oil. They tend to come from plant sources, and they are liquid at room temperature. So these are the types of fats we should try to have more of each day. What can happen if we have too many of those saturated fats is that excess fat isn't used by the cells in the body, and they can get settle inside the vessels that feed our hearts. So they can narrow that vessel. And this condition is called atherosclerosis. So we want to prevent that. And that's one of the main things that we can do to promote better heart health, is to limit the types of fats, especially those saturated fats. So your avocado is an awesome source. It's also rich in potassium. It is rich in carbohydrate. It's rich in lots of vitamins. So it's really a good thing to have. With that said, we need to make sure we don't have too much of it, however. So a good serving would be 3 or 4 teaspoonfuls. And while we tend to use a chip, don't be afraid to use a vegetable as your transportation mechanism for your guacamole. And then you can limit the calories a little bit more and also boost up the nutrients that you're getting. And all these nutrients can promote better heart health as well. Another thing that I wanted to mention about heart health is sodium. A lot of times we call sodium salt, but the salt that we sprinkle on food or add to food is actually sodium chloride. The sodium part of it can contribute to blood pressure issues and also have an impact on our heart health. So trying to limit the amount of sodium in our diet is a really good idea. And it's recommended by the American Heart Association that we not have more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day. But if you're a person that has an existing heart condition, you might want to even lower that to 1,500. So a good way to follow the amount of sodium in your diet is to look at food labels, read the amounts, and try to keep to that 1,500 to 2,300 milligrams. Definitely eat plenty of fruits and vegetables and whole grains and lean proteins. Take it easy on the processed foods. If you buy a lot of prepared frozen meals, look at the labels, choose the ones that have the least amount of sodium. If you get canned foods, you want to find canned foods with no added salt or packed in their own juice. If you can't do that, one strategy, and everybody here today is going to get one of these little gadgets, and this is called a can strainer. So you can put this on a can of canned vegetables or beans or something that might be high in sodium, and you can drain that fluid off. By doing that, you'll get rid of about 40% of the amount of sodium in that product. So it's a great, simple way to reduce the amount of sodium in the foods that you eat. And then you can just add your own liquid to it. Your food will taste just as good. And if you can, buy your canned foods without added sodium. That's always going to be a great idea. So when it comes to our heart health, we want to focus on the type of fat, focus on having those unsaturated fats that come from plants like olive oil, peanut oil, corn, safflower, avocado. And when it comes to the saturated fats, go easy on your plant-based fats, butter. Go easy on the animal-based fats like butters and creams, cream cheese. But coconut oil, even though that is considered a fruit, it is very high in saturated fat. So you'd want to keep track of that. So another thing that I wanted to mention, I'm just going to look at the time. I'm sorry. Excuse my head. We have 15 minutes, so we have a lot. Can we invite these people in? Because maybe they'll have some questions. Yeah. Yep. So another thing that I wanted to mention is I am in the process of creating a healthy cookbook comprised of recipes from the greater Plymouth area. And I welcome any submissions for the month of March 2020. If you could send them to me at my email, which is mrichards@bidplymouth.org, or mail them to me at 110 Long Pond Road, Suite 104, Plymouth, Mass. 02360. Anybody submitting a recipe will get a copy of the cookbook, and we're looking forward to having a wide range of recipes from throughout the area. So I'm going to see if there's any questions about fats or preparing a guacamole from our guests that are here today.
Marcia, I have a quick question for you.
Okay.
Why is it that if you go on Facebook or the internet, you will sometimes see people advocating coconut oil or even palm oil? But so what is the issue? We know that these things are solid at room temperature. Can you explain that to me? Because I'm confused.
I'm kind of with you. I think it's great marketing. Great marketing campaigns, maybe. So one argument about coconut oil, although it's more highly saturated than butter. If you looked at a chart,
yes,
and it showed how much saturated fat was in each of those products, you would see more saturated fat in the coconut oil. But fats are made up of different chain lengths, and coconut oil does have some shorter chain lengths than butter. But that does not mean that it doesn't react the same way in the body. There is some limited research that shows that sometimes it might have some benefits, but everything I read from all of the experts, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Stanford, all of the main researchers and guardians of our heart health, is that we don't know enough about it to be promoting it so heavily, that we should continue to moderate. Practice that concept of moderation when it comes to any fat that is saturated. Doesn't mean we have to get rid of them completely, but we should be moderating them. And coconut oil does add a nice flavor to a lot of foods, and it's okay to use it in a little cooking. But I don't think that we really need to be adding it to everything that we eat. And we really should limit our total oils to about 5 teaspoons in a day. And ideally, those oils will come more from the poly and the monounsaturated fats, which there's a significant research library available showing over and over and over again that they do support better heart health. The Mediterranean diet, once again this year, was voted as one of the better diets, if you want to use that word, to follow. And it is comprised primarily of our plant-based fats as well. So that's my answer, Jerry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You've just educated me. I'm sincere about that. I've been confused. I see all these crazy statements, and I don't follow the logic, at least the scientific
logic. And I think, yeah, and one of the things that I would advise everybody to do when you do see something on the internet, or if somebody recommends something, the first question I would ask is why? Why is this being recommended? And you need to have some grounded, peer-reviewed research to support making any decision about your health or your car insurance or investing your money. But when it comes to the foods and the other things that we eat, I'm always kind of intrigued with how few questions some people do ask. If a celebrity promotes it, or if it's on Facebook or Instagram or the other social media type sites, it's deemed as true. So always ask why and look for the reasons. Well, why is this good for me? Who says so? What research is there available? Because we don't have a rewind button on health and wellness and in life. We can always do better moving forward, but be very careful about what you put in your body and how you care for yourself. It's a temple, and we should treat it that way.
That's good explanation.
I'm going to see what questions we have, and Marilyn has one. May I give you the microphone, or do you want? There you go.
My question is, guacamole is delicious, and I understand now that it's a heart-healthy fat. However, if you sit in front of the TV set with a bowl of guacamole and chips, is that a heart-healthy thing to be doing?
That's a really good question. Excellent. And very well executed. So no, it is not. And now we're back to moderation. Again, just because something is good for us, it doesn't mean more is better. So it is a very high calorie item. So we would, 2 tablespoons, I would think, should be an adequate serving. And I'm bringing up mindfulness, so I'm going to bring up my other favorite M word. I brought moderation up. My other favorite M word is mindfulness. So as we're all trying this delicious guacamole, I want you to really take your time. Let it sit in your mouth, enjoy the flavor, relax. Don't rush the process. And it's amazing how satisfied we can be with less food when we actually become more mindful as we're eating it. So anytime we eat anything, we should always just take our time and savor it. So Marilyn's thoughts are spot on that eating a whole bowl of it might not be a good idea. It could contribute more calories, which can contribute to weight gain, which can contribute to heart issues. Yes, Beth has a question. Okay. So, Jerry, we're going to direct this one to you, although I do believe I know the answer from my Chemistry 101.
Okay, go ahead.
So, Marilyn, Beth has asked, when you're making the guacamole, it's so beautiful and green. Why does it turn brown so quickly when air hits it?
Okay. It's actually changing. The structure of the avocado is changing. Sometimes when you open up an avocado, you'll see a little brownness in there. Generally, that's not a problem. But there's a way to deal with this. And the way to deal with this is our favorite Christmas, our wrap. We won't talk about which one it is, but the plastic wrap. What you do is you take your bowl and you put a sheet of guacamole on it and you slowly just tuck it in, and so it's touching the surface of the guacamole. Then you put it into the refrigerator. And you take it out the next day. That's why I said it's a fine dish to make the day before. Pull off the wrap and there's no brown. Is that the answer you want to hear? It works.
I'm wondering if it's like an apple, and if you put some lemon or lime juice on it, would it help reduce the oxidation, which might be turning it brown?
That is the issue. But the amount of lime juice or lemon juice that's in this dish is so small. It doesn't. It gets distributed. The pH really isn't changing, and the oxidation will continue. Potatoes are the same thing. You put them on. If you leave them out, they turn brown. So what do? You cover them with water. I'm not using. If I covered my guacamole with water, it would be a mess. So what I do is I cover it with some plastic wrap.
Okay, that sounds good. Other questions? Yes.
There are different kinds of avocados. What is the difference? Should you use one over another? I've seen different ones.
Excellent. Could you hear that, Jerry?
I think what the question was is that there are 2 types of avocados. One is called the Hass, and that generally comes out of Mexico. There's another one that's grown in the United States, but instead of being brown, it's kind of greenish. And the flavor profiles are similar. There are some subtle changes. I think the key really is if you go into a supermarket, generally you'll find one or the other. So it's not overly significant. But please don't tell the Mexican farmers down there I said that. But the point. So what I'm really saying is, yes, there are 2 different types of avocados, and the difference is not significant. Marcia, we're coming down to about 2 minutes. And what I'd like to do, let's try a few more questions. I want to say one other thing. piece of toast, whole wheat toast. Spread some of this on top of it. It's going to be beautiful. And it's also good for a breakfast. Just don't use a pound of it on your piece of toast.
Yep. And I'd like to add to that too, that it's an awesome spread instead of mayonnaise, or you can add it as a little topping for chicken. You don't have to just use it as a dip. You can use it as a delicious spread on a sandwich or as an accompaniment to any type of food that you might be eating. So I think that's great. Any other questions? Yep. Yep. So avocado toast would be simply making toast and spreading some avocado on it. And they charge you an arm and a leg for it. Yeah. And you can do it all by yourself at home. Yeah. All by yourself at home. Other questions? Yeah, how does it taste? Oh, Shirley. Okay, so the calories in our avocado, so this is about 50 calories for a 2 tablespoon serving. So 2 tablespoons would be about 2 of my thumbs. If you're kind of wondering, how do you gauge a spoonful? So a tablespoon would be about the thumb, and a teaspoon would be like the tip of a finger. It's just a quick guide. So, like little tabs of butter, little pats of butter, those are a teaspoon. So figure 2 of them would be a tablespoon. So it's not huge, but it's 50 calories. A lot of us might be able to have 100 calories worth. So I'm getting the 1 minute mark. So I think we have to do our close. I encourage everybody to take care of your hearts. One of the best pumping mechanisms that you will ever have. Without it, we're not going to continue to be. So take good care of your heart, be mindful, and have a great day.
Okay. Marcia, I would just also like to thank all of our guests for coming in. Please try the avocado. It's delicious. It's very versatile. Remember how we were able to get the pit out and the proper way of doing it. Be careful with the knife. And I want to thank PACTV and Plymouth Center for Active Living again, Beth Israel Deaconess Health, and thank you all. Come back and see us again.